A New South Wales aged care home is under fire after volunteer musicians discovered residents were being charged $15 each to watch the performances they were providing for free. Joining us this afternoon on The Debrief is Billy Milovanovic from the Wine Chats podcast in Brisbane and James Lake from SCA News in Melbourne. Good afternoon to both of you. Billy, this breaks my heart. We already know it costs a fortune for so many residents to be in aged care. These performers are being ripped off as well as the residents.
I am appalled by this information. I actually worked quite closely with the aged care sector for about over 10 years, and I've been to my fair share of these aged care homes. I don't think people quite understand how important something like music and these activities are for people who live in these places. A lot of the times we're talking about people who have dementia, who have Alzheimer's, who don't necessarily have a connection to themselves anymore. So music is something that sort of transcends that type of connection, and they can really, really create such a beautiful quality of life for them. So to be conning them in this way, and to maybe even for then residents to be opting out of this program because they have to pay for it for something that's already free, livid, absolutely livid. I'm very disappointed to hear this.
James, this also comes on the back of allegations that some residents elsewhere, not in this specific residency, but others were being charged to watch free-to-air television, to plug in a TV, and then they were being charged extra for certain meals.
Yeah, it's so disappointing that we never have a positive story about the aged care system. And you're right, being charged extra to receive a service that is freely available to people, it's not good that the elderly are being taken advantage of in a situation where they don't have any other choice. They don't have any other options for entertainment because most of them are immobile and that's where they live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The most disappointing thing about this musician story is that the musos are donating their time. They're doing a goodwill gesture to the community, and they're being ripped off again. Musos already don't earn enough, so everyone's hard done by here.
Yeah, 100%. They were doing it for the generosity of their heart to provide delight for the residents. Moving on this afternoon, a disgruntled Gen Xer who claims younger workers are taking time off during work hours for Pilates and beauty treatments and leaving her with the bulk of the workload has been told the workplace has changed and she should enjoy the new way of working. Billy, this always causes issues when there's inequity in a workplace.
Is it inequity, or are people just taking their lunchtimes and doing something really great with them? I think that this is someone who's obviously aggrieved. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this was a gentleman who wrote this email. I think we should just be living, letting women live their best lives. If you want to get your nails done, if you don't, that's okay. I think if he has a problem with getting his work done, maybe he should go to his manager and say, I have no time to go get my nails done these lunchtimes. I'm too busy. Can we work on my workload a little bit? I don't think we should be. This has always been a thing. Remember how we used to, take aim at smokers who would take all these breaks? Now it's women doing their nails. I'm not about this one.
James, what do you think about this? Because if this person is alleging that they're carrying extra workload because these people may be taking the mickey, is that fair when you're carrying someone else's workload?
Yeah, look, I agree that it's not fair if you're carrying your colleague's workload, but it has to be taken into the context that the world and workplaces are very different in 2026 to what they were before the pandemic. And so we have a situation where workplaces are a lot more flexible, and we probably have people coming into the workforce who are less focused on watching the clock and the hours and instead looking at the output. So if they're getting the work done, go and get your nails done as well.
Yeah, great point. It's all about output, right, if you're reaching your targets. And finally this afternoon, influencer Elle Ferguson has caused a bit of controversy for saying owning a designer jewellery box worth more than $23,000 is preferable to having children. The comment came after a high school friend of the 41-year-old posted a photo with 3 children asking what could be better than this. Now, Billy, important to note, Elle did say take this with a grain of salt. I think she was having a bit of a joke.
Of course she was having a bit of a joke. And I think that a lot of the times mothers do tend to get a little bit touchy when somebody suggests that there's something better than their children. I think if you don't want to have children, please don't have children. We need to stop sort of putting this on women. If you want to go buy yourself a nice jewellery box and if you want to put your jewellery in, that's okay. If that's your version of, the life that you want to live, I think that's great. Please don't bring any more children into the world that don't need to be here and that people don't want to care for. So buy your jewellery, babes.
James, do you agree?
Oh, look, the jewellery box wouldn't wake me up in the middle of the night. It wouldn't make a mess on the floor and leave the toys on the stairs. But I wouldn't swap my 2 beautiful children for a $23,000 jewellery box.
Yeah, I think it was a bit in jest. We appreciate you joining us this afternoon, Billy, and James, thanks so much.
Thank you.